What's up guys, JonJonTheWise here, and I got another Cyberpunk video for you. Today I'm going to be talking about the Tech Maker ability, which is the tech's special ability. And the reason I'm going to talk about it is because you can literally make anything in the game. Any gun, any item, any vehicle, whatever you want. The people at Artel Saurian have put together the rule set to be able to make anything in the game, and I wanted to dive into this as I've experienced it myself, I've done it myself, and I wanted to give you guys my insight onto how it would work. Alright, but before we get into that, make sure you guys join the Discord community. The link will be in the description below. It is a community of Cyberpunk fans, and you're all welcome to join us. It is growing, and we're loving it. We're playing Cyberpunk, we're talking about Cyberpunk. Come and join us. And please join my podcast. It is called Tabletop Cyberpunk. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, and I've had a few interviews on this channel as well. But if you guys like talking about Cyberpunk, listening to Cyberpunk, and listening to me ramble about it, then make sure you guys subscribe to that podcast. Then make sure you guys join my social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere else you can find social media. You'll find me at JonJonTheWise. Join, let's connect, and have fun. All right, let's get straight into the video. All right, so the Tech Maker ability. Back in 2020, the tech's ability was called Jury Rig, and it was basically like a giant umbrella of being able to do anything in the game and take some kind of tech or equipment without having vast knowledge about it. You can just fiddle with it and change it in any way you want. A lot of the 2020 skills were kind of left to your interpretation and very generalized. But as we're coming into Cyberpunk Red, there's a lot more specific things you can do with each role. They each play a part in this world. And the tech is a big part of this world. And it's become one of my favorite roles in the game because you can literally homebrew anything. We've been homebrewing, we've been playing our games throughout the past, whether it's D&D or whatever RPG you're playing. You always homebrew something, whether that +1 sword is possessed so it does another die of damage, or whatever it is. You guys have finagled things into your game without the knowledge of whether this was going to break the game or not. You would take the risk and then find out later on, like, man, I think we actually broke the game by making this really cool item. Was it worth it? Probably. But wouldn't it be cool if there was some kind of system set in place where you can make an item and comfortably know that you're as close to balanced as you can be without, obviously there's things that'll still break the game, but at least it gives you a little bit of guidance, right? Well, that's what they did with the Tech Maker ability. And if you guys have watched my past Wise Guys session, we did a little bit of downtime. Part of the downtime was because we were using the Tech Maker ability to make items that the players had been thinking about throughout our entire campaign. As we were going along the campaign, the players were thinking of stuff that they wanted to have but just wasn't in the book, like an electric guitar that has an axe at the end and a flamethrower on the neck of the guitar. That's something that's obviously not in the book. It's super specific, but the good thing about the Maker ability is we were able to make that item with relatively easy thinking about it. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. I'm going to talk about everything that has to do with the Tech Maker ability. After you guys watch this video, you'll be able to implement these ideas into your game, and you'll be able to understand how you can use it and probably understand how amazing it really is. All right, so the tech abilities for Maker is tech plus your tech skill that is applicable, like weapons tech, cyber tech, land vehicle tech. Then your rank in the Maker expertise, such as invention or fabrication, and we'll get more into that stuff later on in the video, plus 1d10. You take all those four together, tech skill applicable, rank and Maker expertise, and 1d10, and whatever your result is, you compare that to a difficulty chart that is in the game. In the book. In the book, there's a nifty little chart that tells you exactly what you need to roll to be able to make a luxury item, this item, an excellent quality. It gives you an idea exactly what you're supposed to do. Of course, you're also going to need the money for the item. The good thing about that is the economics of the game are set up in such a way where you can kind of on the fly figure out whether this is an everyday item, it's an expensive item, a luxury item, a super luxury item. It's broken down pretty well in the night market section and other sections of the book that give you an idea of how the economy is supposed to be working in this game. So that way, even though the item that you need is not specifically in the book, you can think to yourself, well, is this an everyday item? Is this an item that's kind of hard to find, a little bit more on the expensive side? All those questions, once you answer them, you can find pretty much the area, around the area of what you guys are supposed to pay for stuff, right? So after you guys have that information, you can go into invention. Invention is one of the expertise that you take with Maker. You take your rank ability in Maker, you can break down some of those points and put them into invention. Remember, this is the first step to making an item. So you take your invention points, and the first thing you want to do with it is have an idea. You're going to need an idea of what this weapon is going to be, what this vehicle or item is going to be. How am I going to use it? What is its purpose? All those things are the idea. Once you guys have an idea of what you want, you're going to want to go into schematics, do a little drawing, talk about describing exactly what the item will look like, what parts are on it. Does it have a motor on it? Does it have fuel? Where are we going to store the different parts on it? These are all things that you're going to have to come up with your player or GM to figure out exactly how this item is going to look. Then you're going to figure out how you're going to get the parts required. Once you know exactly how it's going to look, what its purpose is, you have schematics, now you need to go one by one and get the parts. For the example with my Wise guys, we wanted to make an electric guitar that had a flamethrower on one end and an axe blade on the other. The final part of your invention is pricing. You need to know exactly how much you're going to be paying to invent this item. You obviously need to take into account whether you're going to be paying for parts, whether you acquired them and you don't need to pay for them because you found them somewhere, or whether the tech that you're working with, maybe it's an NPC. The NPC is going to want money. Maybe the player is even going to want money. One of your buddies that's playing at your table, he's probably going to want to get paid as well. So let's use this invention, and I'll give you guys a rundown on exactly how we did it in our game. The first part of the invention was the idea. Sam Ectoplasm, my player, our rocker boy, came to me with an idea of an electric guitar that had a flamethrower on one end and an axe blade on another, and only he can use it, and it's bio-locked. Also, it has to obviously be a fully functioning guitar, right? That's the idea of it. The schematics are exactly how I described it to you. He wanted a flamethrower on it. Okay, where does the flamethrower go? He wanted it on the neck of the guitar where the tuning area is, that top part. He wants a flamethrower on that end. He wants the axe blade on the bottom part where it's the crescent part of the electric guitar. And then he wants the bio-lock to be on it somehow, some kind of fingerprint or something like that, right? So now we know exactly the schematics of it, how it's going to look, and we have the image in our mind. Now we need to figure out what parts are required. So obviously we need an electric guitar. We need a flamethrower of some sort, or some kind of fuel tank with some kind of spark on it to be like a flamethrower. We need an axe blade or a light melee weapon, medium melee weapon, something like that we can attach to it. And then we have to find some kind of bio-lock technology, which actually the Netrunner has for their cyber deck. So if we can just take that tech, splice it, and make it work on an electric guitar, we have all the pieces that we need for this guitar, right? So now we have an idea, we have the schematics, we know what parts we need. Now we need to do pricing. We break down each item that is going into this guitar. Flamethrower, we know exactly how much that is according to the book. We know how much a medium melee weapon is according to the book. A guitar is an everyday item. It could be a higher priced guitar, maybe pricey or luxury or something like that, to make it a nice looking one. And we know how much a bio-lock device is for the cyber deck as well. So adding all these together plus the fee to pay for the techie, we know exactly how to make this item, its purpose, how it'll look, what parts we need, and how much it's going to cost. Well, The only thing that's stopping us is the prowess of the tech to be able to fabricate this item. So now that we've invented it, let's talk about fabrication. The next step is fabrication, and fabricating an item means that you are creating a prototype of an idea that was already invented. And this is a totally different lane in the maker ability, but it cannot be done without invention. Now, what you can do is if you find some kind of blueprints or something like that that somebody else had invented an item, you can use that to fabricate an item. Or once you've already invented an item, you don't have to keep inventing it. It's already been invented. You have the schematics and everything. It's just a one-time thing. So the first thing you want to do is remember, it's a minimum of 500 eddies for your first item that you make. That means that after you make this item and it is priced lower than 500 eddies, let's say, then the next time you make it, you don't have to pay that minimum 500. You just pay whatever it is priced as, whether it's an everyday item or a luxury or super luxury or whatever it is. It remains in that category now that it has been fabricated and the prototype has been made. It can now be mass produced with better, more efficient materials. That's the idea of it, okay? So that's just something to remember. Now, you add up all the prices for all the parts that you have gotten for the fabrication. You add in your tech's service cost. You take the player's money first. Then you roll tech plus fabrication rank plus the tech skill applicable and 1d10 versus the difficulty chart. You do all that, and if you pass, the item has been fabricated and the player has the prototype in their hand. If you fail, then you have to start all the way from the beginning of fabrication. You need to get all the parts again, and you're pretty much paying double for another fabrication cost. This is where luck is a big deal. I talked about it in my past videos. If you're a tech and you just cannot fail this roll, you do not want to fail this roll, you throw some luck points in there and you make sure that you didn't waste all that money and those parts to create this item. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty simple, right? You take the parts that you need, you take the stuff you need, and it's a formula to be able to make any item that is in the game. I love that they added this into Cyberpunk Red because previously we had to just fly by the seam of our pants and try to figure out whether this item was overpowered or not. And most of the time, if the players were really happy with an item, then we messed up and we gave them something that was overpowered. But we can sleep better at night knowing that we tried our best, we followed the rules, and we made an item in this game to have fun with while still maintaining the balance that we needed for this. So, thank you, Artel Sorian, for this maker ability. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have more coming down the pipeline in 2021. Have a great holidays and Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody out there. All right, love you guys. Have a wonderful time.